So if you're looking for a really well-made watch, a very good looking classical styled watch with a GMT feature with a good GMT movement within it, as well as it being super affordable, then this San Martin is probably the one that you're going to want to have a look at. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches, and I finally got my hands on this San Martin GMT. This one has been out for a while now, and as such, it is probably a really good time to consider buying it because it's no longer particularly expensive. I've seen this watch listed as low as $150 US, and for a San Martin watch that is the quality of what you would expect from a San Martin watch that has a good look to it like this one does, and with a Seiko NH34, then I think you can't go too wrong. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people have thought the exact same thing because this is one of the best selling San Martin watches that they have released. There are thousands of them that are out there, there are thousands of them that have been sold, and thousands of happy customers with this watch on their wrists. And as such, I probably don't need to do a full in-depth review about this one. There's lots of videos about this watch out there. Instead, I just thought I might point out some things that I think are really worthwhile considering about this one. And the first thing, of course, is that price. Now, you would have seen that sponsored icon pop up previously because thankfully, I didn't actually have to spend that money. It was very nice to have somebody reach out from the San Martin website and say, hey, would you like a watch to feature on your channel? And when they did that, firstly I went, oh, yes, please, I'd love to have another San Martin watch, but I thought, I would actually really like that GMT. I've had my eye on it for such a long period of time, and it's been so popular for such a long period of time, then maybe I want it in my collection and then share my experiences with you. But because it has been sponsored and it has been provided to me to this channel, I'm just going to leave a link to the San Martin website down below. And I'm also going to leave an affiliate link to one of the Aliexpress stores that I normally purchase from if you prefer to buy from Aliexpress. So why do I think this particular watch has been as popular as it has been? Well, it's going to firstly come down to the looks because it has a very good classic look to it. It's a sort of watch that I think you could wear in almost all circumstances as well. It's one of those sort of watches that you could wear to the office, or you could take traveling, or you could wear casually, or you could wear out to dinner. It just has that sort of classical look, but a very nice look, and something that will go with almost anything that you're wearing. I also think when it comes on this bracelet that it kind of can be that everyday watch, but if you stuck this one on a nice leather strap, I think it would look absolutely fantastic as well. And you could then mix it up between those two options and get a lot more out of this watch than it already comes with. Of course, the money is a big part of this as well because at $150 US, and sometimes even a little bit cheaper if you find it on sale, I don't think there's much else out there that you could really get as much out of that money as with this one. And of course, with San Martin, you're getting really good specifications and a really good standard of finish. From a specifications point of view, of course, you're getting that Seiko NH34, which I think is a great, affordable, robust, sturdy GMT movement, which I'd be very happy to have in almost any of my watches, really. It has 100 meters of water resistance. Of course, it's got sapphire crystal, has that nice solid bracelet, solid end links, milled clasp, and the finishing is San Martin finishing, so it is very good. It is much better than what you should actually be getting for a $150 US watch. So I think that's why this one has been so popular. Of course, the looks have grabbed people's attention, but then it's affordable and it's also really well made. But what has probably kept this one on a lot of people's wrists is the wearability of it. Not just in different occasions, but because of the sizes. Because this one here has a great set of dimensions because the case itself is actually 39 millimeters, but the bezel overhangs a little bit, almost to 40 millimeters, like 39.9 millimeters. So it sits on a wrist like a 39, but it feels and looks like a 40. It has a thickness of 13 millimeters, a lug-to-lug of 48.4 millimeters. Love that sort of lug-to-lug size. Lug width of 20 millimeters and a weight of 127 grams. And I think 127 grams is a nice weight for a watch this sort of size. It is enough that you can feel it on your wrist and go, yes, I've got a nice solid watch on my wrist, but not so heavy that you think, ooh, I've got a bit of a chunk of steel on my wrist. And you can see on my wrist now, it sits nice. I have a 17 centimeter wrist and I find that 38 to 42 millimeter watches are sort of generally in my sweet spot, but 39 to 40 just always seems to work for me. especially with a lug to lug of around about the 48. And I think this size of watch would fit on smaller wrists and much bigger wrists too. So that is probably a big reason why this one has been so popular as well. And as you can see, as you look a little bit deeper at this watch, good brushing, good finishing, a fairly standard bracelet of what you would expect from San Martin. I know now that I've had quite a few San Martins, they must obviously reuse the bracelet on quite a few of their watches. They've made a very good solid bracelet that feels and looks good. So why would you swap it out with anything else? And you've got that nice solid clasp there. This is one of their older clasps, so it does not have the adjustment inbuilt like some of their newer ones do. But I'm actually okay with that because it actually makes this clasp a little bit smaller and it feels a little bit more comfortable on wrist perhaps, but it doesn't give you that adjustment like the new adjustment clasp. But what that leaves me with is, what do I like about this watch? What don't I like about it? And what would I change? And I'm going to certainly start with the movement. I love Seiko movements. I think in the more affordable watches that they are always going to be my go-to choice if I can. And now that there is a GMT version of that Seiko movement, well, I can't really ask for much more because I love a GMT function and I love a Seiko movement, and that's why I particularly like having this one in this particular watch. And of course, I think I like the general look of it as well. And one of the things that I think looks really good in this one is those little flashes of orange in both the GMT hand as well as the GMT word, because this is a fairly classic looking watch. So having a little bit of pop of color really does add to this particular watch. And of course, how it sits on my wrist at this size, which makes it very hard to then find anything I dislike about this watch. I thought perhaps maybe that date window was a little bit sort of confronting, being white on that black dial, but I think it kind of suits this watch. And being a GMT watch, something that you might take traveling, it's good to have that date complication. So I'm not going to say that I shouldn't have a date on this one, but perhaps to change, maybe a color matched date wheel. It's only a little thing, and I'm not really sure if it actually needs it, but it probably would be a little bit nicer if it was a color matched day wheel. It's a very hard one to look at this watch and actually think of things that I don't like. It is well made, it's well finished, it has a lot going for it, you can wear it a lot, it's great size, it's a good movement, and it's affordable. So there is not much more I can ask of it. And that's where I'm going to leave this video. Thank you so much for watching. Maybe check these ones out next.